Welcome to another Torah Moments with Gordon, where we will be taking a look at Parsha Noach, Genesis chapter 6, verse 9 through 11:32. I want to look especially at the timing of the flood and how it helps us in our efforts to understand the calendar of the Scriptures. Genesis chapter 7, verse 11 tells us that the rains began on the 17th day of the second month of Noach's 600th year of life. In verse 12, it tells us that it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. We then read that the waters prevailed upon the face of the earth for 150 days, or about 5 months, in verse 24. In Genesis 8:3, it says that the waters receded and the mountaintops were visible after 150 days. On the first day of the 10th month, the mountaintops could be seen. Genesis 8:5. And then 40 days later, according to 8:6, Noach opens the windows of the ark and sends out a raven and a dove. The raven flew out over the waters and returned to the ark, making trips back and forth until the waters dried up. And the dove returned to the ark. And we see this in chapter 8, verses 7 through 9. 7 days later, Noach sends the dove back out. This time, it returns with an olive leaf in its beak. Genesis 8:11. Noach waits another 7 days before sending the dove out again, and this time the dove does not return. Genesis 8:12. On the first day of the first month of the 601st year of Noach's life, the land is no longer covered with water. It's still muddy, but it's not covered with water. On the 27th day of the second month, the Almighty tells Noach to leave the ark along with all who are with him. So we have the flood beginning on the 17th day of the second month of Noach's life, when he was 600 years old. The flood is over, and Noach leaves the ark on the 27th day of the month, when Noach is 601 years old. This equals 1 year and 10 days. So now, let us figure out the word problem and see what we can learn. We have 40 days and nights of rain, 150 days where the waters prevailed upon the face of the earth, 150 days where the waters decreased upon the earth. 40 days later, Noach opens the windows of the ark and sends out the raven and the dove the first time. 7 days later, Noach sends out the dove a second time and it returns. 7 days later, Noach sends out the dove and it does not return. So we have a total, if we add those numbers together, of 394 days. But wait, a year and 10 days would be 375 and a quarter days using the solar calendar. That just doesn't add up. However, a Jewish, or I propose a biblical year, is both lunar and solar based. We call it solar lunar. Due to the differences between 12 lunar cycles and a solar year, the year and seasons would get out of sync by a month in the span of about 3 years. The solution was to add a 13th month to the year every 3 years or so. The modern Jewish calculated calendar does this in certain years of a 19-year cycle. A regular Jewish year can be 353 to 355 days long, and a leap year, or a year when a 13th month is added to resync the calendar to the seasons, is 383 to 385 days long. Noach's ark year is 384 days, plus the 10 days from the 17th to the 27th makes the time that he was in the ark. makes the time from when it began raining to the time he left the ark, because he was in the ark 7 days prior to the rain starting. Some may object and ask why I counted the 150 days twice. For one, the language of the text says that for 150 days the waters prevailed, and for 150 days the waters decreased. Two very different terminologies. Second, there is no year that I know of that lasts only 244 days, and that's what we would get if we took the second 150 days off. So we can see that the account of Noach and the flood shows us that it is biblical to add a 13th month to a year on occasion. There is another witness to this in the account of Ezekiel, but we will save that for another day. Thank you for listening and watching, and may the peace of the Almighty be with you as you follow Him. Until next time, Shalom.